Lamborghini recently posted this, a never-before-seen hypercar planning to hit the streets in 2024. And today, I'm going to tell you what's going on and why I think that by posting this photo, Lamborghini's teasing not one, but two new hypercars. I'll explain a little bit what I mean in just a second, and like always, you better believe I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek of what the car looks like. We're going to go through images of the front, the back, and even the interior. So let's get started. All right, so first let's check out Lamborghini's Instagram post. Got a little smoky, dramatic video teasing a front look of the car, and immediately you can see that it resembles another Lamborghini model, the Vision GT. In fact, it even appears to be the same color. Alex and I actually got to see this car in person in Bologna, Italy at Lamborghini's factory, and it is my favorite car ever. Only problem is that the car is just a concept. You can't even open the doors on it because there's no interior. So the main issue with the Lamborghini Vision GT is that even though it looks cool, it can't drive. And even if Lamborghini wanted to make a production version of this car, they'd have to change a million different things just to make it road legal. This car, however, is gonna have to be able to drive because it's gonna compete. That's right, this thing is gonna be a race car. And look, if you're somebody that gets immediately turned off by the word race car, no problem, fair play. I got good news for you, because I believe that this Lamborghini race car is gonna be the inspiration for a brand new, ultra limited, road legal Lamborghini Hypercar to be released in 2025. And that's the car that we're gonna reveal today. What, you guys thought I was gonna reveal a race car? You guys crazy? Race cars are very simple and yeah, they look cool and stuff, but we're trying to get to the juicy stuff. I'm gonna show you guys the hypercar version that I think is gonna come out as a result of this race car coming out. We're looking into my crystal ball. But before we reveal this car, we have to understand what the hell is going on. Lamborghini is referring to this race car as the Project LMDH. LMDH stands for Le Mans Daytona Hybrid. Now for a lot of you, Le Mans should definitely ring a bell. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, think one of the most prestigious races in the world. A 24-hour marathon where cars don't just test speed, but also endurance. Now, the Le Mans Hypercar is basically this race's hypercar class category, but the Le Mans Daytona Hybrid is a more cost-efficient version of this category. There's a couple of differences between these categories, but the LMDH class caps the amount of money companies can spend on the car to $1 million. And this is great, because if the race doesn't have a strict budget, then what you'll get is a select few spending a ton of money. So this allows more companies to participate, and overall gives everybody a better show. It's a win-win situation. If you've paid close attention, we've actually already seen other LMDH cars. You have the Cadillac, looks like a Batmobile. It's got that typical angular look that you find on Cadillac. And then you got my favorite, the BMW. When I saw this thing, I was like, this is freaking insanity. You got the kidney grills at the front. It looks sleek, it looks cool. I don't know, I just thought this is my favorite. Now, despite them all looking unique in their own way, you'll kind of notice that they all have a very similar base. And that's because all upcoming LMDH cars are obligated to use one of four chassis approved by Le Mans. You have Dallara, Oreca, Multimac, or Ligier. Once they have their chassis, they can go and build whatever the hell they want within the restrictions. It's actually amazing how they can maintain their design language and be so easily recognizable despite having to use a third-party chassis. Now, for a street-legal version of this Lamborghini LMDH, Lamborghini's not gonna have that absolute requirement of having to base their car off of one of those chassis. So they're gonna be able to do whatever they want, and I think, of course, knowing Lamborghini, they're gonna make a much more balanced design overall. You know, those other chassis, they look pretty flat, they have that little bubble in the middle. Lamborghini will make things look more even, more beautiful, more aesthetic for the road. For the meantime though, what we do have is the Lamborghini LMDH, and it's gonna make its competitive racing debut in 2024 in both the IMSA Endurance Cup and the FIA World Endurance Championship. It's gonna have a V8 twin-turbo hybrid engine developed by the company's motorsport department. And this is gonna be the first ever racing engine developed entirely from scratch by Lamborghini Squadra Corsa. It's gonna have 671 horsepower, because that's the Le Mans limit, and it's gonna weigh 1,030 kilos, because that's the Le Mans limit. All right, so anyways, it's time to reveal this car. Again, Lamborghini for now is making a race car, but I think that this is gonna inspire a new street legal car to come into production. Similarly to how Aston Martin came out with the Valkyrie. Look, I was taken on a joyride in a Valkyrie at Goodwood, and I can tell you right now, I completely understand the hype around that car. Being inside of the Valkyrie was unlike any other car I've ever been in. The car had so much power that it would literally accelerate in like steps because the traction couldn't handle the power. It was freaking crazy. Now, yes, the cabin was very, very small, borderline intimate, if we're getting real. But it's the only way of making something like that actually possible. Now, I know how proud the team over at Lamborghini is with their Lamborghini Vision GT, and rightly so. And seeing as they're finally going to bring something similar to it to life, it would only make sense for Lamborghini to go the extra step and make a road-legal LMDH-esque hypercar. So here it is. I've sat down with the designers, and with a little bit of imagination, we have a feeling that the day Lamborghini decides to build this car, it could look a little something like this. How incredible does this look? The first thing you'll notice is how similar it looks to the LMDH, but this time around, Lamborghini would be able to use their own chassis and not be limited to the restrictions that the LMDH body has. One of the first things that this naturally changes is that the car now becomes a two-seater instead of a one-seat race car. Yeah, you're gonna be pretty squished together and it might not be super comfortable, but it's gonna be a lot more fun than sitting by yourself with a radio in your helmet. Over at the front, you have these lights inspired by the Lamborghini Vision GT and Terzo Millennio. Super sick car. If you guys aren't aware of the Terzo Millennio, highly recommend you watch it. Mrs. Supercar Blondie herself already reviewed it. Great video, great car. Go check it out if you haven't already. So that's where the inspiration of those lights are coming from. Over at the front splitter, you still have that iconic Lamborghini angled fin. You can even find that on the newest Lamborghini Urus Performante, by the way. Just looks cool. Just screams Lamborghini. The front splitter would probably also have active arrows to increase downforce. You also have a much more hollow underside of the car, as you can see on the open spaces next to the wheels and also on the sides of the car. Like if you peek your head, you'd be able to see right through the car. Again, like the Valkyrie. Overall, this would be an ultra lightweight hypercar focused on generating downforce, power, and of course, being a road legal race car. Of course, you'd get the center locking wheels, hood scoop on the roof, angular Lamborghini intakes behind the doors, and over on the back, a pretty tall spoiler. Speaking of the spoiler, let's head over to the back. Bam! Look at this. How sick is this spoiler? From the front, you couldn't really see it that well. From the back, you have this crazy split spoiler in like a huge Y shape. Now this is not a new look for Lamborghini. They teased this with the Lamborghini Vision GT, and what I like is that the brake lights would actually be integrated into the spoiler.
I love this wide tail light here. This is incredible.
That was the most important design theme from the beginning.
Yep.
From this angle, you can again see just how open this car is with the rear diffusers and the sides. I mean, the front wheels are almost on an island. And if you look very closely, just behind the front wheels, you'll see the side view cameras. Now this car would theoretically hit the streets in 2025, so hopefully by then we can finally get legislation to approve side view cameras globally. Right now you have all of these super cool cars like the Cadillac Celestiq, which are trying to throw side view cameras on there, but legislation won't approve it, so they have to replace them with normal mirrors. Now, before we go to the inside, I gotta say that the engine is super hard to predict on something like this because Lamborghini can go a million different ways. As of now, the most viable option would be a hybrid hitting over 1,000 horsepower. Of course, it would have the in-house Lamborghini Squadra Corsa engine for the LMDH, but without the Le Mans 671 horsepower limitation. All right, time to check out the interior. Here it is. Now, the first thing we can observe is that it's incredibly claustrophobic. Also, there's a very strong chance that the center console will not be a viable option. To be honest, the inside would have to be as simple and as functional as possible, so the center console that you see on this image would be considerably narrower than what you normally find in a Lamborghini. Just bear that in mind. Because even though it is a race car for the road, you still want to enjoy some tunes in there, enjoy it with a friend, have a little bit of an infotainment section. Now, in front of the driver's seat, you would have a Formula One inspired wheel, but highly simplified and designed to still look beautiful. Now, if you look closely, in the middle of the steering wheel is a screen, and this would display some of your more specific information. But of course, you could also deactivate it. Maybe less distractions. You'd have toggles on each side of the screen to look through your options, and your gauge cluster would still feel very Lamborghini-esque. So there it is. What do you guys think? What would you guys name the car? Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys next time.